Good morning and welcome to the Berks County Board of Commissioners meeting. Today is September the 12th, and we will call the meeting to order at 10 a.m. Let us stand to observe a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. As we stand today for a moment of silence, let us remember that yesterday we celebrated September the 11th, and we cannot forget what happened. So let us remember our brothers and sisters who died on September 11th. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to ask my executive assistant, Barbara Lopez, to read the public comment notice.
Public comment will be accepted in person and through the Q&A function. Please include your first name, last name, and municipality for all comments. Any comments without name and municipality will not be considered. Each citizen can submit one comment. Comment length is dictated by limitations of the platform being used, Teams Q&A, Facebook, and YouTube. In-person comments will be accepted first, followed by comments submitted virtually. The meeting comment period is limited to a total of 30 minutes, including both in-person and virtual comments. This time period may be extended at the discretion of the board. Please be concise. Comments that are germane to county business will be read during the meeting and should not be considered to be interactive dialogue with the commissioners. The county solicitor shall be the final arbiter of whether a comment is germane and should be read. Any commissioner response to public comment will be done at the discretion of the commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Today, as we do every year, we celebrate the National Recovery Month, which is September. And every year we have the opportunity and the blessing of having the Council of Chemical Abuse come and speak about what they're doing around recovery and substance use disorder. And we also have a few members of our recovery community come and talk about their road to recovery and their road on recovery. So we want to welcome you all here. We have, for those of you that are joining online and can't see the room, we have a full room here today. So I know it's not to see any of us because all our other meetings are always empty. So we're here to celebrate Recovery Month. So we're here to thank you and to celebrate with you as well. So I'm going to call up Yvonne Stroman, who is a community program specialist of the Berks County Council on Chemical Abuse. And she will provide an annual update and then call up the recovery community members who are going to speak today.
Thank you so much and good morning to everyone.
Morning.
My name is Yvonne Stroman. I'm a person in long-term recovery. What that means for me is I haven't had a drink or drugs since August 9th of 1990. And admittedly, I said to this on Sunday morning, jail was a motivator, right? And I'm certain people are chuckling behind me because they can appreciate where I've been. But the reality is that without some type of outside motivation, sometimes we're a little reluctant to admit that we have a disease. It's a disease that tells you don't have a disease. And as a result, we begin to say it's because of if you had the family that I had, you would drink too. Or if you had the job that I had, that you would drink too. But thanks to intervention, right? However it comes, through jail, through hospitalization, through institutions, there's an opportunity and a moment of clarity that tells us if you continue to do the same thing that you've always done, you'll get what you always got. And thank God, my higher power, that there was an intervention. And now today, 34 years later, without chemicals, I am a productive citizen. And I say that proudly because before there was an opportunity for me to kind of do something different, right? Commit crimes, steal, lie, and those things are no longer part of my character today. And I'm just very, very grateful. And so we come to you in observance of National Recovery Month, which has been since 1989 observed by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration to educate, raise awareness, and uplift the prospect that we do get well. We do get well, we thrive, we go on to live productive lives, but it's with your help. Quite frankly, without your taxpayer dollars to allow for treatment and recovery, this may not be possible behind me. And so we stand here proudly indicating that life exists. I've been given a second chance. And as a result of that, I've taken the bull by the horn and I've ran with it. And now I work at one of the most prestigious and most gracious places on earth that extend that help to other people. I always say I have the best job in the world because it allows me to educate, to tell my story, to give dignity to recovery as we know it, and to let people know that recovery is possible. So we have been able to, at the Council on Chemical Abuse, and I just want to acknowledge in the room our leadership, of Kathy No, who's our executive director, and Jackie Steed, who's our assistant director, the work that they've done and they continue to do, and pressing upon how do we help people in our community get well. And we try to let people know that money is no object. If you can't afford it on your own, give us a call, right? And we're going to help you do that. And we got to say, we wouldn't be able to do that without your help. So we're really, truly thankful today. We've been able to do some activities. And so we annually have a recovery walk, and the commissioners are adamantly available, and they're there walking with us on Sunday. And we had just a festival of activities and events to celebrate recovery. We released butterflies in the name of, if you know about the metamorphosis of a butterfly and how it starts as a cocoon and then it releases itself and it's now free. That's how we see our disease. We were once trapped in our minds, telling us that nobody understood us, living in a world of isolation. And now being free, we're able to share with everybody that recovery does work. And by the way, we look good. Right? We look really good and we thrive. And so we're just really, really grateful to stand up and let people know that recovery is possible. Otherwise, how would people know? Right? How would they know if they don't know? And so we're just kind of here. I'm not going to continue to get on my platform because, I could talk about recovery all day, but we know we don't have that kind of time. But I do have some others behind me that I want to turn it over to so that they can share their own personal experience and hope. So I want to call up Scott, who's the executive director of Easy Does It. Scott?
Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you, Yvonne. You're a wonderful ambassador for recovery here in Berks County. You always do a great job, and we're proud to have you part of our community, so thank you. And it's a beautiful day. I was thinking about what Yvonne said. 1989 was referenced as when SAMHSA recognized National Recovery Month for the first time. It must have been a really good year. I was a sophomore in high school and went to my first AA meeting in 1989. My dad was a drug and alcohol counselor in the Navy. He was also an active alcoholic at the time, so that tells you all you need to know about what the Navy thought about addiction and alcoholism. So we've come a long way. Also in 1989, the organization I worked for, Easy Does It, was formed and founded right here in Reading. And for those of you who don't know, it was an organic movement of members of our recovery community of AA, NA, and other pathways of recovery who formed EDI, and they bought the property that was a bar here on Walnut Street, and then bought row homes on either side of the bar and had 10 transitional living units for people to live and sober living, and said, wow, there's a terrific need for this here in Berks County. Secured funding with the support of the commissioners and our local congressional delegation and the federal government, and built our beautiful facility, a recovery community center up in Bern Township, where we have 50 units for recovery housing. We have lots of events, breakfasts. We offer supportive services to our residents. They meet one-on-one with a recovery support specialist, and we just do a really great job at helping people turn their lives around. I should say myself, I'm a person in long-term recovery too, and I was too stubborn to take advantage of the opportunities that many of our folks here today are taking advantage of. And it took me, I think, 3.5 years to get 1 year clean and sober. Repeated effort. I kept coming back, and eventually I stuck and stayed, or stayed and stuck, however you want to look at it. And what I've learned from that, and what I often share with everybody, is that recovery isn't for people who need it. It's not even for people who want it, but recovery is for those who do it, who take the action necessary. And I would say that's also true from a governmental point of view that recovery in our community is only possible when the government does it. And that is to say, puts money and support behind the organizations and providers that are given the opportunity. And for that, I thank you. It's strong support, unlike probably almost any other county in Pennsylvania. And I imagine across the country, it would be highlighted as a strong example of government working to support recovery through action. So I thank you again. I do have just one speaker that I'd like to introduce, a current resident of Easy Does It, has been with us for, I think, a couple months. And I'd like to introduce to you Eric Steffi, who can share a little bit of his story, and thank you again.
Hello, everyone. My name's Eric, and I am an alcoholic. I'm glad for this opportunity to express my gratitude to the entire recovery community here in the county. I'm currently a resident at Easy Does It, and I was a prior resident of Easy Does It, and I'm so grateful that they don't turn their back on their wounded. I had a period of sobriety, rebuilt my life, cleared away the records of my past, and then I fell down. And again, it's affording me an opportunity to rebuild my life once again. Although I might be in the seventh inning of my life, I still have a lot to offer. I'm glad to be part of the recovery community. I have so much support at Easy Does It. The entire staff has been there in one form, one way or the other, and they're there on a daily basis, and they know where I come from. They know what I go through, and it's so supportive to have that kind of help when I need it. When I fell, I went to prison, and upon parole, I had nowhere to go. And at first, I asked to go to Easy Does It, and I was told, well, I never heard of that. So I was sent to one of their correction centers, and it's not conducive to recovery. And I was so glad when I was able to come back to Easy Does It because of the support they offer me, the programs, their partner programs that they offer. It's given me the opportunity to get back with the recovery community. And I just can't express my gratitude enough. It's not easy. It's a lonely feeling. It's a really lonely feeling to think that you have nowhere to go. And I've been involved with some of the different organizations here in the county in recovery, and they've offered nothing but support. And without it, I'd be lost. So I just want to once again express my gratitude and thank you.
You know, and then they say in recovery, people, places, and things are those things that you need to change on your road and journey of recovery. And so Berks County is fortunate to have recovery houses to help give that support and those next steps for individuals who don't know how to live without using substances. And so we're proud to boast that we have recovery houses such as Easy Does It and the YMCA that can really give folks that anchor, that level of support of taking those next steps, which are vulnerable for many of us. We don't like asking for help. And so when help is given to us, we're a little suspect of what to do with that. But there's that support that exists along the way to kind of say, we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're here to support you and show you the way to recovery so that you can have a fulfilled life. So I'm going to bring up Josh, and Josh is head of Camp Joy, and then he's going to introduce his folks. Josh?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joshua Camacho. I am the program director at Camp Joy. I am honored to be up here this morning speaking on behalf of the YMCA. I also am a grateful recovering addict myself. Being up here this morning is something that is still kind of surreal for me myself. But for the YMCA, I'm very privileged and honored to work for the organization. We provide support and assistance to those with mental health disorder, as well as substance use disorder. We offer transitional living opportunities for over 65 clients just downtown here across the street, as well as 14 to 15 clients up at Camp Joy. One of the things that we love to do and that I love being a part of is we offer we offer support to those, and we also offer a voice to those who feel as though that their voice may not be heard. I love being somebody who can give hope to those who at times have felt like they're hopeless. Being through some situations in life myself, just being grateful to be here this morning and say thank you to you guys as the commissioners and all of the organizations that are here this morning that help us provide, because without you guys, like Yvonne said, none of this stuff is possible. I want you to all know that I am extremely nervous, okay? So I am just an individual who is so grateful to be in the room and be in the presence of all of you. And I wake up every day loving what I do. And what we do is we get out there into the community, which all of the commissioners I have stood beside as well. And we just try to make sure that anybody who suffers from substance use disorder understands that that is not where their story has to end. We give a great deal of our time behind the scenes. And that's what I also want to thank you commissioners for, and everyone else that works in the field, because there's a lot of stuff that we see, or a lot of stuff that people see us do, but there's a lot of things that people don't. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the YMCA. I also just want to take an opportunity to thank everybody on my team, because without the support of them, I wouldn't even be here this morning. None of this stuff will be possible. So I just want to say thank you to Gina for trusting me enough to come up here and be a nervous wreck this morning, as well as Jenna, who has been doing an amazing job, Siri, and everyone else that I work with at the Y. Lawrence Zerby, who is one of my right-hand mans up at Camp Joy, and also Yvonne Stroman. Thank you so much for being a mentor of mine, as well as just an inspiration to us all. I am going to get off of this, and I'm going to pass this over to individuals who I feel will do a much better job on this microphone. I have brought Ryan McBride with me, who is a resident with me up at Camp Joy. He has been doing an amazing job, as well as Roy Shu, who is going to represent across the street. And then we will end with our executive director, Gina Pina. Ryan.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
There we go. My name is Ryan McBride. First of all, I want to say thank you for your contributions and your help and your care, the compassion. Without that, I'm not standing here before you. If I was to tell you my life story, I'll tell you what, I shouldn't be standing here right now. But I am by the grace of God. And for the care and the compassion of the people in the room behind me, I'm here before you. I came into camp not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. I came into camp, I couldn't sit still. I couldn't speak. We could understand what I was saying. I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. I was scared. I remember the first night sitting in my bed, and I looked at the walls, and I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what tomorrow was going to look like. But going through the program, I learned that, I only have just for today, and I have to live in the moments that I have. I dove into my recovery head first, and what it does is it saves my life on a daily basis, because there was a long period of time where every day I was destroying my life, and I was slowly committing suicide. Today, I care about what I do. I have hope. When I talk to other people, I genuinely want to know what they have to say. When I see other recovering addicts come into the room, come into the programs, I want them to get a taste of what I got. And what I got was a new lease on life, because I was, like I said, if I told you where I came from, it wasn't a pretty place. And I put myself there. Today, I put myself on this side of life. I put myself on the better side. I like to wake up every morning and be grateful for what I got. If I was to sit here and tell you everything I'm grateful for, we'd be here a lot longer than an hour. I got relationships back that I never thought I'd get back. I have a career now instead of a job. I have a place where I'm indispensable to the things that I do for them, and I appreciate that. I show up for them every day, same way I show up for my recovery every day. Without my recovery, I have nothing. I have nothing in my life. So every morning I wake up, I'm grateful for the recovery I have. I'm grateful for the program I was in, for the people around me, because they taught me how to live life the way I didn't know how. I didn't value what was given to me from birth. I didn't value the gifts that God gave me when I was born. And it took me 44 years of life to go through the trials and tribulations I went through to get where I am now. Now, when I look in the mirror, I can actually stop and say I'm proud of myself. I can look in the mirror and say I'm happy. And the days I'm not okay, I can say to myself it's okay to not be okay. I don't have to drown out those feelings. I can sit with myself now and recognize self-destruction when it's coming. I can sit with myself and say, okay, I'm not perfect, but I'm a work in progress. It's not about perfection. It's about just taking these little steps forward. I get different perspectives from people and understand that my way is not always the right way. I have 25 plus years of proof to show what my way looks like if I keep it to myself, and it's not a pretty picture. So today I'm grateful First of all, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful I have a relationship with the God of my understanding. I'm grateful I have people I can talk to and I'm not alone. Because for a long period of time, I was surrounded by people, but I was alone the entire time. Today, there's nothing I could talk to anybody about in this room, and I'm going to be shunned for the things I feel. Even if I don't know how I'm feeling, if I tell somebody I'm feeling bad, I don't know why, at least 1 or 2 people are going to say, yo, me too. Then they're going to understand. Just that feeling of not being alone, you know, that somebody who's done this before me, that for me, for this addict here, that holds a lot. That holds a lot, to knowing that, you know, I don't have to ever be embarrassed about how I feel. I don't have to ever be shunned about how I feel. And I don't have to be embarrassed about my past. It's shame. I still carry a lot of shame. That's a big area I'm working on for myself. But I can still hold my head up high today because I'm not a victim of what I did. You know, what I am is I'm just a recovering addict trying to get another day clean. And I'm grateful for that. Like I said, I'm grateful for the help I got. Without that, I can't do this alone. And the day I think I can do this alone, I'll probably be back to where I came from. I'm getting ready to leave Camp Joy soon, and I can't. The gratitude that I have for that program saved my life in every way, spiritually, physically, and prepared me for this next step that I'm going to be going on. And the tools given to me, they weren't just given to me as tools, but I was shown how to use each one of those tools. And I could go into that toolbox, take out whatever I need, and I could be on my worst day. I know because of the people that literally grabbed my hand and walked me through these steps of what I had to do, I can use all those tools today. And what I'm even more grateful is I could pass them on to the next person who's going to come into a room like Camp Joy, like I had, and not know where they are. And they're going to be nervous. They're going to be looking around, you know, confused about where they are. You know, and I understand that confusion. If I could be that beacon of hope and light for that one person, then I'm doing something right for myself. But I just want to say thank you again about your contribution and compassion. I'm not standing in front of you right now. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Roy Shuey. I'm 55 and just now turned 32 months sober. First time in my life since 16. I'm originally from Penn State. I'd raised 3 children, owned several houses, owned my own body shop, and had been a head chef kitchen manager at Lebanon Valley College. But through all that success, I took it all for granted and had been an alcoholic through all that. I'd gotten 4 DUIs, had been homeless 3 times, married 3 times, 3 back surgeries, and gotten hooked on fentanyl and Vicodin patches, or fentanyl patches and Vicodin from the pain clinic. Lost everything that I've accomplished and learned from all my mistakes the hard way. And I ended up in Reading last March. Through the Haven, I was in a recovery house in York where I was working and had to leave because I'd broken my back. So I'd given up on life again. When I left the Haven, I'd went to Hope for 5 months and ended up in a tent. 5 weeks. And then finally, the YMCA called me. To me, that was a miracle. Through all the misfortunate events, this time I learned not to take second chances for granted. So I'm very thankful for Reading YMCA, Berks County, the Rise Center, recovery coaches, and Connections Work for all believing in me when I lost belief in myself. They picked me up off the ground, out of my tent, and gave me a home and back on my feet again. And now I'm in a safe, sober living environment with stability and security, and most of all, family and friends. If it wasn't for all of you, I would not be here today. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gina Pina Garcia. I am the Executive Director of Social Services at the YMCA. We came to represent what Recovery Month looks like. You heard two passionate stories of clients that have come through our programs. You heard about our support, from our teams. We believe in the individuals that enter our programs. We're here to empower them, give them motivation, give them structure, give them guidance to be better than they were when they entered. Kind of like what several people have already said, we give hope to the hopeless. I'm standing here today. We had a young lady, excuse me. We asked several people to come speak. I always try to have somebody represent the females, and she kind of shied away and was like, no, my recovery is doing well. I wrote something. I'm just too bashful to speak. So I asked with her permission if I could read her story, and she said yes. So I'm going to speak in reference to our female resident and Women's Bridge House. The client is celebrating 8 months of recovery from drugs and alcohol this month, and these are her words. This journey has been one of the most challenging yet rewarding experiences of my life. I owe a significant part of my success to the incredible support and guidance that I have received from the YMCA's Women's Bridge House program. When I first walked through the doors of the Women's Bridge House, I was filled with uncertainty and fear. I didn't know what to expect. But from the very first day, the staff and fellow residents welcomed me with open arms and hearts. They provided safe and nurturing environment where I could continue to heal and rebuild my life. I also want to highlight that September is National Recovery Month. This is a time to celebrate the gains made by those in recovery and to spread the message that recovery is possible. It is a reminder that with the right support and resources, anyone can overcome addiction and lead a fulfilling life. It also serves to reduce the stigma associated with substance use disorders and to encourage those who are still struggling to seek help. As I reflect on the past 8 months, I am filled with hope and determination. I have learned that recovery is not a destination, but a continuous journey. I am committed to staying on this path and supporting others on their own recovery journey. To anyone out there who is struggling with addiction, I want you to know that you are not alone. There is help available and there is hope. Programs like the Women's Bridge House and the supportive recovery community can make all the difference. Today, we can overcome addiction and build a brighter future. I want to thank my case manager, Jenna Rivera, for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts and for all of her support. Thanks to each one of you for being here today and supporting me on this journey. Let's continue to celebrate recovery and work towards a world where everyone has the opportunity to heal and thrive. Signed, female resident of Women's Bridge House. Thank you.
And so we also have to acknowledge, and I think the DA Adams said this years ago, that we cannot arrest our way out of the problem of substance use. And so one of the things that Berks County also does is support our specialty courts, our drug treatment courts, headed by Judge Eleni Geishauser. And so folks are able to, instead of going to jail, participate in a program that's 18 months to 2 years. And individuals are asked to do certain things, requirements, such as going to treatment and looking for employment. But we also have a specialty court housing, and I'm going to ask Steve Mayer if he wouldn't mind coming and talking a little bit about that in the way of how we're also supporting folks that are involved in the criminal justice system to advance the quality of their lives and get well through the specialty court housing. I always put him on the spot, so he was a little reluctant, but I twisted his arm.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
First, I want to thank Yvonne for putting me on the spot about 15 minutes ago. I was not prepared, and as many others said, very nervous. This is not exactly my comfort zone, but that's okay. So my name is Steve Mara. I'm also a person in long-term recovery, which to me means I haven't had a drink or a drug since September 18th of 2017. And I mean, what has in recovery changed is really the better question. Recovery has allowed me to stop going to jail and stay free, to stop burning all the bridges in my life, family, friends, jobs, everything just completely gone. I could talk for an hour about all the things that I lost in my addiction. Recovery has given me the opportunity to be a friend, an employee, an employer now, which is just like insane. A son that I definitely never was before, a brother, a husband, a father, somebody with a purpose in my life. I never had any kind of a purpose, and to that end, when the whole idea of revamping and creating the specialty court recovery house came up, I was extremely grateful to be given the opportunity to become the program director of that program, and which is, as far as we know, the only recovery house specifically for treatment court participants in Pennsylvania. It's an unbelievable opportunity. It's a really, really great program. And I just want to thank the commissioners and COCA for all their support on behalf of TASC. This wouldn't be possible without you guys. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Please.
And I do not believe, we also have to acknowledge that we have a women's recovery housing through Berks Counseling Center. And I'm not certain if anyone is here from there, but I just want to say thank you on behalf of the women's recovery housing through Berks Counseling Center, where they're actually able to get support and services for women and children. And so we need to, if we're going to be addressing this disease as we should, we need to start with the families. And so providing information and support for women with children is really critical, and we acknowledge that. And so we're just really grateful that, again, your support allows that to occur. And then just lastly, we want to invite you, a couple things that we do annually in September for National Recovery Month to celebrate recovery is not only Recovery Walk, but we also have coming up on September 28th is Sober Stock up at Easy Does It in Leesport. And if you really want to see what recovery looks like, is to come and enjoy visiting provider service tables, but also the music and just the fellowship that exists through the recovery celebration through Sober Stock. And so we're just really, again, very, very grateful. There's no place like Berks County, and we know that. And when we go into different pockets of the state, we brag about the recovery support that is here, such to the chagrin where people probably say, be quiet already. But having said that, we have to let people know that because of the support that we get from this leadership here in Berks County, people can and do get well. And so again, on behalf of the recovery community, we say thank you, and thank you.
Thank you, Yvonne, and thank you to everyone who spoke. I know Commissioner Leinbach is joining us online. Not sure if he is able to say anything. I know he always says this is, if not one of his, it's not his most favorite meeting. It's one of them at least. So if he's online, oh, there he is. I see him on the screen now there. So Commissioner, if you have any comments that you would like to share.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. You are correct. This is the most meaningful meeting of the year because it's one of the rare times that we talk about programming and we hear how it actually impacts real people in our communities. And I've always have said, each year I learn something new as I hear different stories. One of the things that stood out to me today, you have various leaders, Yvonne, Scott, Josh, Gina, and Steve are speaking as leaders, but they're also people in recovery. And then we listened to Eric and Ryan and Roy, and as Gina shared the female resident story, they really are, even though one group represents leadership in various programs and the other group are people going through the programs together, they represent our recovery community. And while we play a role in funding, the people that make a difference are the people that have been through it, that come back and say, somebody helped me. I want to be part of programs that reach out and help other people. So thank you very much to everyone that shared today, but a special thanks to Yvonne, Scott, Josh, Gina, and Steve for being people in recovery that have come back and are lifting other people off the ground, in many cases, saving lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And just to clarify, Commissioner Leinbach is not somewhere on the beach. As you can see in the background, he had knee replacement surgery 3 weeks ago, so he's home recovering from that, but he should be back in the next week or two. Commissioner Santoni.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. I know that this is Commissioner Leinbach and Rivera's favorite, one of their favorite meetings, and this is the first one for me, and I can tell, and I can assure you that it's going to be one of my favorites as well. And I know that a lot of you stood up and spoke and were nervous, and that's okay. And when you're nervous, that means you care. If you didn't care, and you'd get up there and just feel free and have no problems, but you care about what you're talking about, so you should be commended for that. A lot of thank yous came to us. I am going to throw them right back at you. Thank you, Yvonne, for all your advocacy and the work you do in the community, all the speakers for pouring their hearts out. They were very inspirational to me, and I'm sure they were inspirational to many that hear them and will hear them. The last thing I'll say is you're to be commended for changing your lives around and for doing a lot of the hard work that it takes to be in recovery. But you should also be thanked for the work that you do to help others, and I think that that's just as important. Helping yourself is very important, yes. Doing positive things with your life, but helping others is also a wonderful way to be able to give back, and I think that you should be commended for that as well. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for what you will continue to do, and thanks for coming in today. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
So I want to thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing your story. Not everyone wants to share their story. Not everyone wants to let others know what they have gone through and what they go through. But if you don't share, you can't help anyone else. With you sharing, you're helping someone else who may see, wow, look at Kevin. Kevin looks, like he has it all together. Like, he's perfect. But if, not saying that Kevin has a story, but if Kevin doesn't share his story, he can't help others that may be going through the same thing that he went through. So it's important that you share your story. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone deserves seconds, third, fourth chances. So you need to say, hey, you know what? This is who I was. This is what I did. This is what I am now. And you can do the same as well. So thank you for your willingness to share your story. Also want to, I don't know if it was Scott who said it, but said that recovery is for people that do. Was that you, Scott? That's extremely important. You have here the COCA, you have here the EDI, you have here the YMCA, you have the TASK and all the other organizations out there, but they can help, we can help, but it's up to you to do the doing, to be able to do what you need to do to be able to move forward in life. I always like to share in one way or another my father's story. It's a little hard for me, so I try to get through it. But had it not been for Teen Challenge, I may not be here today. My father grew up in Puerto Rico. He grew up in the projects. He was in gangs and drugs. And he made a choice. He said, you know what? I don't want this anymore. I don't want to live my life like this anymore. He made a call to Teen Challenge, came up to Raresburg. This was in the late 60s. And he made that choice that he wanted to change. He got the help that he needed at Teen Challenge. And he lived about 45 years in recovery till he passed away about 10 years ago. He helped many people. He got into martial arts and he helped many people through that. But one thing, if I could go back to him and say, is that I would have liked him to share a little bit more about his story. He was just made it to eighth grade in school, and he was ashamed of that. He was ashamed of his past. Sorry. So something I would have encouraged him when he was alive was that share your story, because you can help more people. Though he did help in his way, and he lived a good life. So thank you for being here today. Compose myself now in a minute. Thank you for being here today, and continue to share your story. Continue to do the work that you do, and never give up. Okay. So again, thank you, and that concludes this part of the meeting. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but normally what happens now is about 90% of the people get up and walk away. So enjoy the rest of your day.
It's really going to be an exciting meeting. You don't know what you're missing out on.
Okay. We have one person left here, huh? Okay. All right, so we will continue now with our meeting. And before we move on, I'd like to have the approval of our minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes as presented? If none, the minutes stand approved as presented. We did have one executive session, which was yesterday, September the 11th, and the topics were personnel and litigation. Okay, do we have any public comment on agenda items? None in person, none online. We'll start then with our agenda items. Item number 1 under budget is adopt a resolution authorizing 2024 appropriations netting $0 per listing dated September 6th of 2024. Under human resources, we have one item. It's adopt a resolution authorizing human resources recommendations dated September 13th as follows. Authorize the promotion of Melissa Miller from part-time registered nurse supervisor at the Berks Nursing to assistant director of nursing, Berks Nursing Administration, effective 9/25. We have various items under the commissioners. Item A is adopt a resolution authorizing the vice chair to execute the certification of use of funds for the National Opioid Settlement Funds. Item B is adopt a resolution authorizing Brian Gottschall, Director of Emergency Services, to electronically execute the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania State Fiscal Year 24-25 Radiation Response Fund Grant Agreement. Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the Vice Chair to execute the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency for Child Advocacy Centers grant application for subgrant number 44505 for the District Attorney's Office, and further authorizing the Vice Chair to execute all award notifications. The funds will cover a portion of the salary and benefits for the Children's Alliance Center Director and operating expenses January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025. Item D, adopt a resolution authorizing the Vice Chair to execute the PCCD Crime Victim Services and Compensation Fund, Victims of Crime Act and Victims of Juvenile Offenders Grant application for subgrant number 564 for the District Attorney's Office, and further authorizing the Vice Chair to execute all award notifications. The funds cover salary, benefits, and other expenses for the District Attorney's Victim Witness Unit to provide procedural services to crime victims January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing Mitchell Darcourt, County Treasurer, to open a new bank account with Customers Bank, Wyomissing, PA, as an investment account to lock in a fixed interest rate. And item F, adopt a resolution authorizing approval of the County of Berks right to know policy and procedure, revised August 30th, 2024, with an effective date of September 12, 2024. Item number 2 is motion to authorize the execution of contract agreements and amendments as set forth on the contract agenda listing dated September 9 of 2024. There are a total of 6 contracts, 1 with Children and Youth Services, 1 with Children and Youth Services and Juvenile Probation Office, 1 with Department of Emergency Services, 1 with Information Services, 1 with Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities, and 1 with Parks. And item number 3, motion to authorize execution of the payments and electronic transfers for the week ending September 13 of 2024.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda items as presented.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Motion carries. We'll move on to the reports of the treasurer and the controller. Mr. Treasurer, your report.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. Today we have an opening balance of $264,070,393.83. We have a balance to clear of $5,605,882.32, leaving us with a balance of $258,464,511.51. That is all, Commissioner. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Mr. Controller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the week ending 9/12/2024, we have a total accounts payable of $11,670,570.67. We have a total payroll of $5,142,614.83 for a total cash disbursement of $16,813,185.50.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on now to the report of the Chief Operations Officer, Kevin Barnhart.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. Our team has nothing to offer at the present time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll start with the commissioner's comments and ask Commissioner Leinbach to go first in case he needs to jump off of the call.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rivera. Sorry I couldn't be there today, but this past Tuesday was 2 weeks since the knee replacement surgery. I'm hoping to be able to get back in the office at least partial days next week. One thing I wanted to highlight, and Commissioner Rivera, you mentioned at the very beginning, yesterday was the 23rd anniversary of the 9/11 attacks in New York City, Pennsylvania, and Washington, D.C. And my wife and I were talking. It's interesting, anyone 30 years or younger probably don't remember 9/11. Maybe somebody 5 or 6, but those of us that are older, it's burned into our memory. And one of the things that I come back to again and again, there are nations out there and there are various terrorist groups that absolutely hate freedom and liberty. It's very easy for us as a country to get caught up in looking inwardly at the problems we perceive, especially in the political season that we're in right now. And we can forget that the liberty and freedom we enjoy requires eternal vigilance. And we need to always be aware that there are groups out there that are trying to destroy our way of life. That's what happened on September 11th, but they failed. They caused great damage, great heartache, lives were lost. But what happened was a strengthened United States of America. Some of us probably remember, as I do, in the days, weeks, and even months following 9/11, our country was unified in a way that I'd never seen it unified before, and I have not seen it come together since. And I would ask us to look back at that period of time. What was it that we focused on, that we agreed on, that pulled us together? Let's remember those things. I'm not saying ignore our differences and drop our beliefs and principles. That's not what I'm talking about. But we were able to treat each other with respect. People we didn't even know, strangers invited strangers to their home or to help them in any way that they possibly could. So let's remember 9/11, not just for what happened from a horrific standpoint, but also from the standpoint of how we responded, and ask the question, can we focus on those things that brought us together after 9/11 to strengthen our country again? Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Leinbach. Commissioner Santoni.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few things, a few events I was at and a few things coming up. Last Tuesday, Berks County Mental Health and Developmental Disabilities was one of the sponsors of an event that happened at the Miller Center for the Arts over at RAC. The gentleman there, his name was Kevin Hines. He wrote a book, My Journey of Recovery and How to Maintain Mental Wellness Living and Fulfilling Life. And Kevin told the story earlier in the day to the students at RAC, and then that evening to an adult audience. But what Kevin talked about was Kevin is one of 36 people to survive jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. And he told a very inspiring story. I'm not going to give you the whole story. He spoke for over an hour, and it was spellbinding. Grew up in a very rough. His parents were drug addicts, and he went from foster care to foster home to foster home, and had a bipolar disorder. He had mental health issues. And on September the 25th, 2000, he decided he was going to jump over the Golden Gate Bridge to kill himself. And he tells the story, and he tells it some humorous. Believe it or not, there's some humorous moments to it, and he keeps it very light. But just a couple highlights, I think, that are just amazing to what happened to him and how he survived. The moment he said he was looking for help, and I know that we had some people in recovery talk about helping others and reaching out to others, and that's one of the main things he spoke about, is how you should reach out, check with your family members and your loved ones to make sure they're okay. It's all sometimes that moniker that we have here at the county, "Are you okay?" is really, really important to check on people that you care about. Kevin didn't have that, but he did have a support system. He had parents, adopted parents, who loved him, and siblings. He jumped over. He said the minute that his second leg came over the railing, he regretted what he did. It took him 4 seconds to hit the water. He hit the water at 75 miles an hour, broke a number of bones in his back, and went 30 feet into the water, and he was trying to desperately get back up. He was having trouble. He was going back up and down. But some of the circumstances that saved him, while he was jumping off the bridge, a woman was driving and saw him jump. And I forget if it was her husband or her brother, worked for the Coast Guard. She immediately got on the phone and told him that someone had jumped off the bridge. So the Coast Guard went immediately out to try to help. And while he was struggling to get above the water, because most of the people died from the impact, others died from the hypothermia because of the coldness of San Francisco Bay, he saw this water animal going around. He thought it was a shark, and he's like, "Oh my God, I survived jumping off the bridge. I'm going to get eaten by a shark." Well, it wasn't a shark. He found out later on it was a sea lion that pushed him up, and he was on the back of the sea lion and kept him above water and kept him from drowning. The Coast Guard came out, got him, took him back to the hospital. That day at the hospital he was at, there was a visiting, one of the foremost back surgeons in the country was there visiting for one day. So it just happened to be there. He scrubbed in and performed the surgery on Kevin. And he still has a lot of pain from it, but he's alive because of all those circumstances. Now he's a religious person. He thought there was some divine intervention, but just amazing how all those circumstances provided Kevin to be alive today. And his purpose in life now is to go around the country and talk about mental health, suicide prevention, and how important it is to care about your fellow man and woman to check on. And again, his one of his major messages was to make sure that you check on your loved ones and make sure they're okay. Just ask them if they're okay. So that was a wonderful program. And I'm really glad I got an opportunity to go to it. Also, yesterday through the Google River Greenway Association, Elaine Schaefer, who's also a county commissioner in Delaware County, invited a number of us to float on the Schuylkill. There were federal officials, state officials, and had an opportunity to do that. And we took a ride, about a 4-mile kayak ride down the Schuylkill, starting in Union Township and ending at Ganshawani Park in Berks County. And we learned a lot about what the Greenway Association does to clean up the river. They have a lot of projects, and it was a really interesting day. And I thank Elaine for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to meet a lot of great people that care about the river and care about recreation and provide those kind of resources for people in Berks County and the surrounding counties. So I had a great opportunity as well. Couple upcoming events real quick. There's an event tonight at the Reading Museum, Fêtes en Blanc, Fete en Blanc. Everybody wears white. It's supposed to be a great event. I've never been to one, but there's going to be one. And I know that, and the reason I'm bringing it up is the money raised will help Habitat for Humanity. My good friend Tim Daly and his organization will benefit from tonight's event. Saturday is the Berks Latino Gala at the Redner Center at the stadium. I'll be attending that as well, where they honor the Latino community and all the great people that are involved in that. I know that Commissioner Rivera is very involved in that community as well, and I look forward to that. A couple more things real quick. I taped my TV show this week, and it'll be shown on Monday, September the 16th at 6:30. Alex Pilkington, who is the CEO of I Am Able Foundation. I Am Able Foundation is an organization whose mission is to include people living with physical, cognitive, and or behavioral disabilities. The benefits of being active by providing grants for adaptive equipment and for providing programming opportunities inclusive of people with all abilities. They do a wonderful job. They provide, as I said, adaptive equipment for people with disabilities so they can participate in physical activities. They have an event at the airport on September the 21st called the I Am Able Games. As members of the Airport Authority, we approve them. They're coming there. They're going to do some activities there. It's a family day. They're going to have a duathlon, running and biking, other challenging events. The Clingers is going to have a wing eating contest, or if you don't want to participate in any of the physical activities, you can go there and eat wings. 2-mile fun run, and as I said, a lot of family activities. That's September 21st from 9:30 to 12. I would recommend anybody that's interested in finding out about I Am Able Foundation to go on their website at Google IamAbleFoundation.org. And my final very brief point, I know that Commissioner Leinbach gave a great speech about 9/11, and I think we all need to remember in our lifetime, those of us of our age, I think, look at that event similar to the event that our generation before us looked at the JFK assassination. Everybody knows where they were when 9/11 occurred, and the terror that ensued, and all the questions we didn't know about when it first happened. But as Commissioner Leinbach mentioned, the good thing that came out of 9/11, despite all the sadness and tragedy that we still live with today, is how we came together as a country. It didn't matter what political affiliation, didn't matter who you believed in or whatever. It was something to see, and maybe, hopefully, we can get back to that someday. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Santoni. A few items here. Received a poem from David Shawcross, who's the president of the Berks County Chiefs of Police Association. It's titled The 11th of September. So I just want to take a moment and read that. It says, "In the darkness of evil, their hatred loom. They turned a landmark of freedom into a hero's tomb. We salute our heroes, the brave and the bold, a flag presented with a sharp, crisp fold. The names we recite, the honors that we render, our brothers and sisters lost on the 11th of September. The nonstop tears, the dark feeling of sorrow. Our world has changed this day as well as all our tomorrows. Family and friends gather to remember in the days after the 11th of September. Our people will not cower. We will rise up, united and tall, for we are America, the land of liberty and freedom for all. To preserve our freedom, this date we must remember, etched in stone and in our hearts, the 11th of September." Just wanted to read that, and I won't go into that anymore, but just as heard by Commissioner Leinbach and Santoni, something we need to make sure that is remembered for generations to come. The longer it goes on, the more history shows us that we tend to forget. So we need to make sure that it's something that we remember. A few other items here. Also, September is Suicide Prevention Month. Also had the opportunity to go briefly to the event on Tuesday, but while preparing to give the opening remarks, something that I read that really was surprising to me and really heart-wrenching is that based on CDC numbers from 2022, suicide was the second leading cause of death for kids between the ages of 10 and 14, behind accidents. Can you imagine that? Kids 10 to 14 years of age haven't even started living yet, but it's the second leading cause of death behind accidents. That was hard to swallow when I read that. So I'm going to thank our CYS office and our mental health developmental disabilities for the work that they do. Let's see, a few other items here. And just on Monday, I had the opportunity to be a panelist with the former members of Congress. It's a group of about 800 former members of Congress. It's a bipartisan group. And they put together the Keystone State Election Security Forum, and it was a bipartisan town hall on Pennsylvania elections. So there were four former congressmen, the Al Schmidt, the Secretary of State, and myself. There were questions. Then we opened it up to questions from the audience, and that was held at the Goggle Works. Extremely important. It was about not one party, the other party. It was bipartisan and all about election security. Let's see. Well, tonight, doing the, I'm not sure if it's pronounced Fed and Blanc, but I have to say it's the first time I've worn all white, except for when I practiced martial arts and had a white uniform. That's the only other time I wore all white. So yesterday I had to go and buy white pants. I have white shirts, but I don't have white pants. So this will be the first time with that. Friday evening, tomorrow evening, is Mary Shelter's Casino Night fundraiser. It's at St. Constantine and Helen Banquet Hall. If you want more information on that, it's go to maryshelter.org. It's a great event. If you haven't been there, it's fun. It's a casino night. You play with fake money, obviously, but there's raffles there and there's food and so forth, and it's a lot of fun. So if you have the opportunity, support Mary Shelter through their casino tonight. Also on Saturday, there's a It's Okay to Not Be Okay 5K at Grings Mill. This is from the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and it starts at 9:30 a.m. at Grings Mill. I will be there, and Barbara has told me that she will be there as well if I was going to be there. Again, that's this Saturday at Grings Mill at 9:30 a.m. And then on Sunday is the 21st Annual Walk for Autism Awareness and Acceptance, and that's at First Energy Stadium from 9:30 to 1 p.m. And that is put on by the Autism Society of Berks County, something else that you may want to attend if you're available on Sunday morning. Today there will be no elections board meeting, but I do have some things I want to update on. If you do want to request a mail-in ballot, please do so as soon as possible. The deadline is October the 29th, but I encourage you not to wait till that day to make sure that you get it in time and are able to mail it out in time. As of now, there are 28,200 voters scheduled to receive mail-in or absentee ballots. And we currently have about 2,500 applications that still need to be processed, and they continue to come in on a daily basis. And there have been approximately 1,000 ballots declined as duplicate. What means is someone had already either signed up for the permanent, which is just an annual mail-in ballot, or they requested it more than once for whatever reason or the other. They don't get more than one ballot. So that's why there were roughly 1,000 ballots declined as duplicates. And still due to pending court decisions, we do not have a finalized certified candidate listing, so the ballots cannot be printed and mailed to be sent out. I actually got a call from a state representative over the weekend or earlier this week saying he's been getting calls. People think that the ballots have gone out or that it's been a delay. The county is not delayed with the ballots. We're waiting on these court decisions, which affects all counties in Pennsylvania. So hopefully there will be a resolution on that shortly. And that is all I have. We'll now move on to row officer comments.
I do not have anything to add at this time, Commissioner.
Okay.
I don't either. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have any public comments online or in person? None? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.